There is a massive coordinated attack happening right now. Lots of Israeli money being spent trying to neutralize or cancel Tucker Carlson for being America First Christian. They're trying to silence Candace Owens for being a Christian and being America First. They've deplatformed Nick Fuentes for being an America First Christian. They've called us here redacted anti-Semites after we said we must stop funding the genocide in Gaza, stop sending our weapons and money there. We should take care of Americans first. That's what we said we would do. The neocon Israel First crowd was out in force, reminding us all how vile they are, trying to cancel America First patriots who don't want our government run by foreign money. Watch.
What do you mean we don't cancel people? We canceled David Duke. Donald Trump canceled David Duke. We canceled Pat Buchanan. We canceled the John Birch Society. We canceled Joseph Sobran. We canceled pornography on TV. We cancel stuff all the damn time. Hitler admirers, Stalin admirers, Jew haters, American haters, Churchill haters. You're damn right we're going to cancel them and deplatform them. It's called the market system. They don't have a lifetime job like a bureaucrat who we're going to protect. And if they're your friend, there's something wrong with you. No hit.
And today, Israel First Ben Shapiro out to cancel Tucker and Nick Fuentes.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin. And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party. The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend.
I can say, first of all, he's a good friend, but okay. But long before all of this modern day canceling, all of this deplatforming, there was a man who showed us exactly how this movie would play out. That man is Patrick J. Buchanan, who turned 87 years old this weekend. As Mark Levin just pointed out, they got him canceled. He was the OG.
We canceled Pat Buchanan.
He was the OG, original America First conservative, and really the first modern one they canceled. So we thought it would be instructive to look at an America First patriot in the vein of George Washington, because Buchanan refused to bow down to the globalist agenda. He refused to bow down to foreign lobbies. He's tough. He made America First the cornerstone of his mission when he ran for president. He was canceled by the establishment rhinos in Washington, D.C. He said out loud what everyone in Washington said behind closed doors. He was brave enough to say it out loud, that America should protect its borders, its jobs, its sovereignty, stop the flood of illegal immigration into our country, that we shouldn't send our sons to die for foreign wars or foreign lobbies, that the United States should put our own citizens first. Imagine that. And for that, they called him a racist, an isolationist, a bigot, and they canceled him.
We canceled Pat Buchanan.
Yeah, you did. Mark Levin, sound familiar? I remember watching the 1992 Republican National Convention as I was a young Republican at my high school at the time. I was in the Young Republicans Club. This was when I was first learning about American politics. I was 15 years old at the time. I remember watching Pat Buchanan's speech. I didn't know it at the time how impactful it would be. It's perhaps the most infamous moment of Buchanan's career. He delivered what's now called the culture war speech. He warned that America was in a religious war for the soul of the nation. He railed against abortion. He railed against feminism, trying to force women into combat. He railed against crazy environmentalists. He railed against getting involved in foreign wars. He railed against the LGBT agenda. It was only LGBT. It was LGB. I don't know whatever the agenda was back in 1992. It wasn't plus because it was taking over America. Watch,
friends. This election is about more than who gets what. It is about who we are. It is about what we believe and what we stand for as Americans. There is a religious war going on in this country. It is a cultural war as critical to the kind of nation we shall be as the Cold War itself, for this war is for the soul of America. My friends, We must take back our cities and take back our culture and take back our country. God bless you, and God bless America.
It was a lightning bolt moment for conservatives who really felt like that they were finally being heard. It electrified the GOP base, but it horrified moderates, liberals and rhinos alike like Dick Cheney. And the media, they flipped out about it. They freaked out. How dare he tell the truth about what's actually happening in America? Supporters saw it as prophetic, though. Really a sort of declaration of the moral battle that would dominate the next 3 decades. When he said there was a religious war, that was the moment the political establishment declared war on him and on the on the movement that he represented, a Christian America First agenda that kept us out of wars, closed our borders, fought against communism and socialist policies. But the thing that got him canceled was singular. Buchanan was one of the first mainstream conservatives to openly criticize Israeli influence in U.S. politics. How dare you, you anti-Semite? In the late 1980s and early 1990s, he accused the Israel lobby of dragging America into unnecessary wars, especially during the run-up to the Gulf War. He called out the fact that Israel was basically asking America to do its bidding by going to war. Remember when Benjamin Netanyahu came before Congress, told us that Saddam was doing all of these horrible things? Yeah. He referred to Congress at that point as Israeli occupied territory, his words. A phrase that set Washington on fire. That was the phrase that got him canceled.
We canceled Pat Buchanan.
Yeah, you did. Today, you can see that same civil war playing out inside the conservative movement. On the one side, the fake conservatives, the Israel First crowd, the endless war crowd, the neocons, people like Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz, Randy Fine, Senator Lindsey Graham. They talk tough about liberty, but every time the globalists rattle a saber, they're the first to send your tax dollars overseas to Ukraine or Israel or wherever else. Ben Shapiro told conservatives to go get the COVID vaccine, for crying out loud. They don't care about America first. They were the people that Pat Buchanan despised.
Americans are up in arms, and they are like, this is not gonna fly. This is not gonna be like business as usual. We have realized that the freedom and democracy and liberties that we thought we had were just a smokescreen. That we were being programmed into thinking in a certain direction. We were being programmed into going or speaking in a certain way that aligned with the people who are setting the way for us. That the whole freedom of speech we thought we had, and the things we couldn't say because it was considered outrageous or out of the realm of things we could say, were just put there by those who wanted us to just toe a certain line. Americans are now waking up to that reality. We from Africa are kind of used to these things, right? We grew up knowing that there is just so much you can say before the hammer is dropped on you. In my own country, there is just so much you can say about certain things before you will be crushed to the bones. We grew up knowing that, and we grew up admiring the freedom, the liberty, and so on in America. I have really loved that about America. But recently, we all are finding out that even in America, with the whole perceived freedom of speech, there is just so much you can say before people started canceling you. There is just so much you can say before people started pumping the brakes on you. Tucker Carlson opened that Pandora box, and now all hell has been let loose. I am not naive, okay? I have known for some time now that American politicians are hypocrites, that the American elites are a bunch of hypocrites, that the so-called president and so on and so forth do not really believe in the whole freedom of speech or universal peace or liberty for all. They don't believe in it because if they did, they will not be invading countries in the global south, or they will not be invading countries in the Middle East, or they will not be toppling government in Africa and setting chaos in countries in Africa. They will not be doing all those things. But the reason they do them is because they themselves don't believe in whatsoever they preach. They are just hypocrites. I have known that for some time now. But I thought that the whole concept of freedom of speech was something real in Americans themselves. It was something they were born with. It was something they grew up with. So they've already embedded it in themselves. I never thought that there were factions that thought that even freedom of speech has got its limit. I have never thought so. But from the Carlson interview with Nick Fuentes, I have seen a lot of Americans, even religious people, come up to say that freedom of speech has got to have a limit. That even though you are free to say things, there are certain things you are not supposed to say them. You might think you are free to say them. You might be even free to say them, but you cannot say them because if you do, we will cancel you, we will censor you, we will crush you, we will make sure you disappear. Figuratively, of course. People like Mark Levin are not taking this line low. And not just him. Ben Shapiro is also there beating the drums, calling Carlson a terrible friend. And many pro-Israel Americans are also doing the same thing. They are outraged. This cannot fly by. This is not what is good for society, so they say. You know, I watched a video. I think I'm going to comment on that video very soon. Ben Shapiro on the Trigonometry podcast. And he was saying that he believes that some gatekeeping is necessary, that there are certain ideas that people should not let it go mainstream. We must stop people from bringing certain ideas mainstream. And the question is, who should be the gatekeeper? Who should be the one to determine what ideas are allowed and what ideas are not? And how can we determine that those people who are saying that these ideas should not be allowed mainstream are doing that without a self-interest at heart or in mind? How are we sure that the gatekeepers are not just serving themselves? How can we be sure about that? Because Democrats had something like that. If you said something that is out of the official narrative, you will be cancelled. You will be deplatformed. You will be told to move out of the room, and all your friends will be forced to disavow you. Everyone will be forced to distance themselves from you. Democrats had that. And the question were, so, whose ideas are the best? Whose ideas should be mainstream? And who should be in charge of the gate? Should it be a person who is neutral? Should it be a person who is apolitical? Should it be a person who is religious? Who should the gatekeeper be? That is a very interesting question to ask. Because believe me, in a society like ours, which is very polarized, everyone has their own belief system. Everyone has their own political views. Everyone has their own religious views. Everyone thinks differently. What you might think is right might be wrong for others, and vice versa. So, who should be in charge of the gate? People like Mark Levin would think that anyone who says anything that they don't like, that they don't approve of, should be kicked out of the room. So, a gatekeeper should be someone who will always be on the side of Mark Levin. And anyone who says anything that isn't in line with Mark Levin's views should be cancelled, censored, kicked out. But is it how we want society to be? No, we don't. We don't. So, take it from someone who has seen censorship firsthand. Take it from someone who has seen how canceling people can be very destructive to society. Take it from someone who has lived in a society where you cannot speak out your mind. It is very, very destructive when you start censoring speech, when you start mandating that people say certain things and not say certain things, when you start saying people must go this route and not this route, when you start saying this is what people must say and this is what people must not say, it's very, very destructive. Very destructive. And for those of you out there thinking that canceling people whom you disagree with is a good thing, remember, it's just a matter of time before you two are being cancelled. It's just a matter of time. There is this quote that says that evil doesn't prevail because evil is powerful, but it does because good people did nothing. Evil doesn't prevail because evil somehow is powerful. No, that's not the reason. The reason evil prevails is because good people did nothing. Let that sink in for a second.